In today's video, I'm gonna cover the question, what's the difference between a hard clear coat and soft clear coat, and how you have to think about that when it comes to correcting or polishing your vehicle. Let's get started. So when I post videos about paint correction or polishing, I'll oftentimes refer to the word it's hard clear coat or soft clear coat. And plenty of times, almost every time actually, I see a comment that says, hey, what do you mean by hard clear coat? What's soft clear coat? How can I tell? So the main difference, and I touched on this point in another video, but I figured I would dedicate a shorter video to this specific topic in question, is that on a hard clear coat, generally speaking, if you want to remove the swirls and scratches from the paintwork, again, generally speaking, it's going to take more effort. Whether that means you're going to need a more aggressive pad, a more aggressive compound, more down pressure, slower arm speed, any of those factors, like it's probably going to require more effort to remove swirls and scratches from a hard clear coat versus a soft clear coat. So on the opposite of the hard, it's going to be soft, and a soft clear coat is, instead of doing a two-step correction, meaning you're using a cutting pad, you're using a compound, and then you have to go to the polishing step, instead of doing that on a soft clear coat, you can typically either, one, go straight to the polishing step and remove a good amount of swirls and scratches, or on the cutting phase, on the compounding phase, you don't have to do as much work. It's not as aggressive as a pad. You don't have to do as much as slow arm movement. You don't have to use as much down pressure. So there's gonna be a lot of factors because there's not a one size fits all. There can be different levels of hard clear coat, different levels of soft clear coat. And then, if it's a hard clear coat, is it super hard, or is it like kind of hard but almost soft maybe, or that sweet spot where like it's just working, like it's working great in your favor? So there's a lot of nuances to like what's hard clear coat and what's soft clear coat. Like right now we're working on an Audi A7, and we all agree that the paint, and not that we all agree, but like as we're working on the paint, it's like the process that we're doing is on the harder side because we are putting a bit more down pressure, we are moving our polisher a bit slower, and it's taking a bit of work to actually remove these swirls and scratches out of the paintwork. Whereas on the Jeep Wrangler that we worked on a black colored vehicle, although we didn't do a two-step correction, we only did a one-step all-in-one polish, we were able to bring back a lot of the gloss from the very dull faded paint. And that's because the clear coat on the Jeep Wrangler was on the softer side, and also removing oxidation isn't really that difficult when it comes to making it glossier. But that's aside from the fact. So every vehicle will give you a different set of factors to work with, right? So hard clear coat, generally speaking, is gonna be harder to remove those swirls and scratches out of the paintwork. Soft clear coat will typically mean you're not gonna have to put as much effort as far as removing those swirls and scratches, because on the a pro to hard clear coat means it might take a bit more effort, I guess you could say, to actually install those swirls and scratches. Meaning when you're washing or drying your vehicle, which is where most of the swirls and scratches come from, it might take a bit more improper effort for you to scratch or swirl the paint. Whereas on a soft clear coat, doing the same wash method, you're more likely to swirl the paint because the paint itself isn't that good at resisting swirls and scratches. So yes, it's gonna have hard clear coat because it's more scratch resistant, right? Not in the actual practical word, but it to a degree it can kind of hold up against you being aggressive with the paintwork in your washing and drying. So that's in itself is good. But then when it comes to actually removing those swirls and scratches, you will have to put in more work. And it's the exact same opposite for the soft clear coat, where if you do just, if you press down too hard on the wash process, if you press too hard on the drying process, if you just do a bit too hard, you might instantly start swirling the paint. And we've seen this time and time again, where when we're working on different vehicles, the compounding polishing might be very, very easy. But then once we actually start wiping down the polish, or we start applying the ceramic coating, we're literally adding swirls to the paintwork because the clear coat is so delicate that literally just a mild pass over with a towel starts to put those swirls and scratches back into the paintwork. So there's pros and cons in each one. There's gonna be a difference in the severity or the condition of each one, right? If it's super hard clear coat, that's different than just being like medium hard clear coat, versus the difference between being like ultra soft clear coat versus like somewhat soft clear coat. So it's really gonna depend, and like depending on the make, the model, depending on like so many factors will dictate the type of clear coat that you have. So it's really hard to say what's the best system to use when you're working on a hard clear coat versus soft clear coat, because you could theoretically still use a compound and polish on a hard clear coat that you will, and also on a soft clear coat, but just maybe you're not gonna use as much down pressure. Your arm movement isn't gonna be as slow. You're not gonna double check or triple check your work to make sure you're actually removing those swirls and scratches. So like on the Audi A7 that we're working on, like every time we did a pass, we would inspect the paint, because since it's so hard clear coat, we wanna make sure, hey, did we actually remove the swirls and scratches? Whereas if we're working on a softer clear coat, we're not gonna inspect as much, just because we know this paint is working in our favor and we're not gonna have to inspect every single pass. So it's hard to tell you use this pad and this compound, because most products and pads, assuming they're from a reputable brand, are gonna work, but it more so comes down to understanding what kind of paint you're working on, and then just getting accustomed and understanding the pad and the liquid, and also your technique and form to it. I have other videos on correcting and polishing, so just check out the other videos that I have to get a better understanding of how to actually do paint correction and polishing. And I'll go ahead and end the video right here. Let me know your thoughts on hard clear coat versus soft clear coat. I want to keep this video short and not overcomplicate things, because I just feel like there's too much complication going on in the detailing space where it really doesn't have to be that way. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.